Alright folks, we've got our new Tusk side panniers racks. Got something to do today. Okay crew, today we're going to be putting new pannier side racks on my Africa Twin. For those of you who have an Africa Twin, they sell these lovely things. They're semi-rigid hard cases. They hook directly in to the mounting points on the bike right here, here, on both sides. They are clamshell, and so when you open them, everything that you have in them basically falls out. And it's a real pain in the butt. They also have limited room in this one here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. They are keyed to my motorcycle, so the same key that operates my motorcycle operates these puppies. You open this, it comes out, everything you have falls out on the ground. I'm going to be getting rid of these. Probably list them on eBay. They are great for people who are never getting off the road, but there's nothing more aggravating than having all your crap just dumped out on the side of a road on the Dempster. So those are going to be a no-go going forward. The second thing is, you might think, well, you just swap those out for hard cases. I'm not going to be swapping them out for hard cases. I am going to be swapping them out for soft bags from Nelson Rigg. Couple of reasons for this. That way I can switch my hard panniers from the Africa Twin to the Himalayan. Second of all, just seen people have nasty wrecks with hard panniers, get their feet hung up or their leg hung up under the hard pannier and break bones. I haven't seen this personally in real life. Don't take that the wrong way. I haven't seen this personally in real life, but I've seen videos of it. Not something I want to experience for myself. So here we have the box that you saw me open earlier. We're going to be laying out the stuff and getting ready for our install. Okay, we got those laid out. Now for this tiny parts box here. It's kind of heavy. So something I'm a little bit worried about with this is the ability. I bought the quick detach. I bought the quick detach kit for the Nelson Rigg, and I'm a little bit worried that the quick detach is not going to work. So I'm going to go get that Nelson Rigg quick detach plate, and I'm going to check it before we install this. Please forgive me. Started cutting into the box before. So these are the adjustable mounting plates, quick release saddlebag plates, and we're going to take them out of their packaging. And we're going to mount one of these puppies to the side of this and see if all this pre-installed stuff prevents us from attaching them correctly. Well, it took not an inconsiderate amount of work to determine this, but the pieces will fit. The thing is I have no use for any of this material, and I don't know what I'll do with it. This is really for the 2017 Africa Twin model. This is really the only set of pannier racks they sell. So I've just kind of got to figure out how to make them work. I don't know if I'm going to have to take like a grinder to them and then respray paint them black to make them work, but it was nice to be able to get the Nelson Rigg stuff together without having to do that. Okay, so let's look at the instructions here. It's just a list of the stuff that you need. I got everything laid out here on the garage floor. Double checked everything, no problems there. Next step is going to be using your ignition key, unlock and remove the main seat using 10mm socket wrench. Remove the passenger rear seat, set them aside, keep all hardware for reinstallation. Remove your rear cargo rack and keep all hardware for reinstallation. And then we're going to drill holes through the wheel hub. Alright, so folks, so here's the drill. If you see this little piece right here, I'm going to show it to you. Alright, that goes to my spare fuel tank, which replaces my pillion seat, which is now laying on the floor. So clearly, if you don't have one of these installed from Nomad America, your installation and removal of the rear seat is going to be a little bit different. But basically what it does, you stick a key in right here. That'll pull off that seat, and then you'll have a 10mm here and a 10mm here, and you'll pull those two. Then, according to this, we have to remove the entire rear piece. So that's going to be next. I'm going to look and see what we got, because that looks to be about a 14 mil. Nope, it's a 12. That looks about it. Alright, so we're going to keep on rocking and rolling and get that removed, because it looks like we're going to be drilling right here and right here to attach a rack to the back. Alright, let's work through this real quick so you know how to take this piece off. Okay, this is going to be a little bit different for me because there would be two 12mm bolts right here, but mine has this bracket specifically designed for my rear pillion tank. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 12mm bolts, 2 additional 10mm bolts. These 10mm bolts allow you to pry this piece off. Okay, so go ahead and do that. So now, once you've got those pieces off, little trick. Most of it has to be pried off. It can be a little sketchy, but you got two 10mm, one on each side. You'll need to pull those off now. Finally, if you come at this from behind, you got two more, one on either side of your brake light. They are 5mm Allen head. Remove. The next part of this show, we're going to take a drill bit, quarter inch drill bit. You're going to stick it down in here straight. You're going to be very mindful not to strip. This is strip out the threads on this, and you're going to drill a hole in the plastic for the mounting bracket that goes here. So I'm just said in the direction something about them being a hole, like a raised bump, but oh, there it is. If you look, that's where you're aiming for, is that little bump right there. And you just want to, oh, boom. And, let's see if we can find the raised bump over here. Not quite as prevalent, but there is one there. Just put that in the center there. Let me see here. I don't feel quite as good about that one. Oh, there it is, there it is, there it is. All right. And very faint. And, oh, there we go. we got those drilled. Now, according to this, we're going to go from the bottom side now, where we just drilled those holes. You can see one right there, one right here, and we're going to widen those to 3/4 of an inch. For this particular step, I'm going to use a step drill with 3/4 of an inch, and right there, the very last one. So the beauty of this is that as you go up, it just, voila, boom. It just, it keeps the hole nice and centered. Just goes right up, just as pretty as you please. And there we go. Okay. So, from your packet, you're going to grab a washer, these 2 long-ass bolts, and these 2 nice aluminum spacers. You're then going to take this whole assembly, and you're going to run it right up in through those holes right there, and meet it up on the top, and thread in to those holes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now and show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like at the end, where you can see I've pushed those pieces up through. And let's see if I can get it there. It's not really macro camera, but you can see how this all kind of comes together. Problem is, my gas tank mounts on this piece, and it mounts flush. These are flush. So these have these nice little tap screws that go down in here and flush, and then there's a little 10mm Allen head screw that goes in here and holds my Nomad gas tank in place. So what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go and get some of these machine screws long enough. So for right now, I'm going to stop where I am, and until I can order or get my hands on some of these that are long enough for what we're trying to do here. All right. Probably a good time to stop anyway. My GoPro's getting ready. Okie doke, we're back in the garage. So we finally got our special order screws in. These are M8 with a thread of 1.25 and a length of 110 millimeters. Ordered these special order from on Amazon. So the issue that we're having here, this piece is not, or was not, going all the way through here. So we're going to go ahead and test this piece, make sure that it fits with the bracket over there. Sorry, let me show you this bracket right here, and then with enough left over for a nut to go on it, and then we will know whether or not this is actually going to work. All right, so we got the 2 pieces screwed all the way in here. Coming out the back end, I got this much screw. Still got to install these spacer pieces, and that's how much screw is left after I put the spacer piece on. We're going to have to hope there is enough left over once we put the nuts on that this works like it's supposed to. So far so good. We got the mount up. You just install those spacers up in there, and we got just a little bit left over. I may pull that washer and put a little Loctite on this puppy, and then tighten it down. I think that's probably what I'm going to do, is maybe some red Loctite. I think an extra, I think an extra washer there is probably a little bit excessive. Alright folks, with that reattached, so the kit comes with some blue Loctite. I've got these nice and tight on here, tied down with blue Loctite. The sleeves come in. Everything seems to have buttoned up like it's supposed to. So I even checked the racks to make sure that they line up correctly. So right now we're looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall all these 4 screws. These 2 screws that go under those pieces there. And I'm gonna have to stop this video because my jet engine just turned back on. Alright, so each of these are 12 millimeter. I got my 12 millimeter. I'm just gonna put these down. Just gonna be honest with you, that's as annoying as the jet engine that just keeps going off whenever it decides it wants to, of my kerosene heater. So we're gonna go ahead and do these 12 millimeter bolts for it. So the next step here, you got 2 10 millimeter bolts. They look like this. This is what it looks like installed, and it goes right here under your rack. Step in this process is to put these black fascia pieces back on and then reinstall these 2 10 millimeter screws back in before we install the finish installing this is these two bolts right here go right there. They take a 5 millimeter Allen key to reinstall. Those of you who have one, you put your pillion seat back on, or your pillion gas tank back on, and if you've got a pillion seat, you're going to put these 2 10 millimeter bolts back where your pillion seat goes. Of course, I've got this fancy gas tank that has caused this to be a rather big pain in the ass to install, but now it's there. And the next step in the process is to cut all these dew widgets, because they are not needed for the Nelson Rigg system that I have. I'm gonna have to cut all them off and maybe shave this down a little bit and repaint that black. Okay, so it's another progressively cold day here in North Carolina. As I said, I'm gonna need to make some modifications to my Tusk Pannier racks, including cutting off these pieces and shaping them, which is kind of irritating given how much money I paid for them, but it is what it is. So I've got me a cutting tool to go ahead and do this cut. First off, I had to take all this hardware out. Used a zip tie to compress the spring, and then pulled this cotter pin. The whole thing fell out. Maybe I'll do that on the next one, just kind of show you how it works. But now I'm going to use my cutting tool to just cut through all this stuff and get rid of it. Pannier racks for my Nelson Rigg setup. As you can see here, I've removed all the baubles and BS. At this point, I really feel like I really kind of wish I'd have went with like Outback Moto or a different pannier rack system that didn't have so much crap on it like the Tusks do. I understand it's a proprietary thing and they want you to use the Tusk stuff, but it's kind of a pain in the butt at this point to do all this work. I got my sander and I got my grinder over here. I did purchase a different grinding wheel, some new grinding wheels, to try and see if I can't cut down, get this done a little bit faster, because and then of course I'll go with the good old-fashioned Harbor Freight. And there we go. I haven't even had a chance to really start yet on the installing the pannier rack for the Himalayan, because I'm so busy with this crap. But I got the parts. We're gonna go ahead and try and finish this up. You can see I've already cut this off, but you know, it's got a lot of metal left even after cutting it off. That's like the jet engine over there. Kerosene heater knows exactly when I've turned on my camera because it fires up the second I do it. All right, so here you can see the completed one. This is about, honestly, with a grinder, about 2 hours worth of work to remove all these baubles that come with the this pannier rack. It's just the cheapest set on the market. Honestly, looking back at this project, I probably would have just bought the Outlander ones that were just more expensive, but a lot less crap. If you're at all familiar with welders, they'll tell you you're either a welder or you're a grinder. I'm a grinder because I don't know how to weld at all. But the welds on this thing pretty stout, to be honest with you. Require a lot of work to grind off. A little bit about the tools that I'm using for this that will make this job easier for you. First of all, I'm going to show you my little Ryobi. Got the 4.5 inch cutting blade. I took the stupid guard off. I don't know if I'm going to regret that decision or not, but what actually really helped in sanding down and getting rid of the pieces was this really nice it's Harbor Freight tool, 60 grit Hercules sanding pad with the lap over. I'm assuming it degrades over time. And then I got some 120 grit flat sander to just clean it up once I get done. And then when all that's done, Rust-Oleum truck bed liner, quick, lasts a long time, so that'll help you. I'm gonna get started on this second one. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this second one. I figure I got about 2 hours worth of crap to cut off to make this one look like the other one. Just in case you were wondering what you do, you have to get this piece off, you have to cut this piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to show you how to get this, disassemble all this crap so that you can take this apart and do this grinding. So you see I'm taking a pair of wire cutters, snip this piece off. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie like I did here. You can see kind of what I did with the last one, and I'm going to zip tie a couple of tines here and pull this off this cotter pin that holds this piece together. Quick, you can see I can't do this and hold the camera at the same time. But you just run it through the top, run it through here, get it, and if you don't have zip ties, you can use a piece of metal wire for this as well. Both work, but zip ties I've noticed work pretty well. This is not like some YouTube videos that I've seen where people do this with their suspension. I'm going to ahead and caution you against that. That's super dangerous. This spring, barely any real tension to it. Alright, so you see it's loosened. Now we just now that we've got that spring captured, I'm going to probably capture it a little bit better. You can maneuver this little cotter pin with a pair of needle nose pliers and pull it out. In this view you can see I've got the cotter pin unraveled here. I'm just going to take these pair of this pair of diagonal cutters, pliers, and I'm going to just yank that out, and then the whole assembly falls apart. And there you go. There she is. Now we got to grind. Remove this piece, remove this piece, remove this piece, which is the most difficult, and then remove this piece, and then we'll sand and do the same thing with this side we did with the other. Alright, so I thought I'd show you a little bit about the cutting process. So right now we've removed all the baubles. Grinding it, I did take the guard off. Just be extra careful if that's the route you choose to go. I am no expert in cutting your fingers off. I have no desire to hear that somebody hurt themselves doing this. So do it, at your own risk type thing. But what I did this time differently was I took my little hammer, and then as I cut through just a little bit, I just beat the snot out of it while it was in this vise, and that helped a lot more. The brakes were a little bit cleaner. I think this is probably the worst one. I'm getting ready to start the sanding process, but I imagine this time around it's going to be a lot less crap than it was the first time. But now we're going to switch out our cutting blade for a sanding blade, and then we'll finish with our 120 grit. Alright folks, and we're done with this for now. I went ahead and painted these puppies. They're now completely ready to install on the Africa Twin. As I said before, it is almost like that thing knows exactly when it hears. I think the listening to the camera go beep 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 sets that thing off. Anyway, I've got them set up. They're ready to go. We're going to continue on with the Africa Twin. It has been I think we're going on like a 3-week project now to try and get this Africa Twin set up with these Tusk Panniers, so that we can use our Rigg gear mounting plates and our new Rigg gear saddlebags. All right, well, I will continue on and we will let you know. All right, folks, how you doing today? So this has been a long time in the making, because we had to make so many changes to the pannier racks. However, I think we're getting ready to just install the pannier racks. The next part of this is pretty straightforward. I've got, as you can see, I've got the rack that's the most difficult installed, especially given my spare gas tank from Nomad. So the next piece that we've got to do is we've got to pull these 8mm hex head bolts off of our foot pegs. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm hoping that this suspension system, this aftermarket suspension system, I was not responsible for it. It was installed when I bought the bike. So hopefully it doesn't cause me a bunch of headache regarding this, but we're going to go ahead and remove these rear passenger foot pegs. Alright, so I test fitted everything to make sure I don't look like an idiot on camera. This aluminum piece here is marked L, so I'm assuming it's the left side of the bike. Stick it in there, and it fits perfectly. Check the 6mm screws that came with it, make sure that those fit correctly, and they do. And then test fit the pannier on the side to make sure that all of my holes line up correctly, which they do. And now we're ready to loosely install this. Okay, done with my GoPro because I'm sick of it telling me there's an SD card error when I have the most expensive SD card on the market in the stupid thing. So I took apart this piece right here, and in its previous life, whoever installed this over-engineered equipment from suspension system clearly bent that bolt, didn't take care of it. But I've got the passenger pegs off on both sides, and now we're going to set this up to test fit our pieces. The first part though is installing these aluminum brackets right here on our racks so that they fit correctly, and that is done according to the directions with the 6mm provided bolts. Okie dokie. And so there was some 13mm came with it. I just installed it hand tight. Installed this wedge hand tight with its two 6mm bolts. Put it in. Everything lines up on that side. You do the same thing on the other side. bolt, hand tight. 2 little 6mm bolts, aluminum wedge, and then that lines up correctly. And so we just got to reinstall these according to the directions for each of these. We're going to go back with the original bolts, but with these spacers spaced behind the foot pegs like this. And so I think that's probably to make sure, specifically on this side, because I did notice when I tried to test fit on this side, the foot peg does not want to work correctly with this side. I also need to figure out how to reinstall this little nitron piece up here so that I don't lose the functionality of my over-engineered suspension. Hello folks, we just got back from Lowe's. Seen earlier I had a bent bolt. Did want to get my GoPro camera working again, so we came back with these Hillman class 12.9 socket head cap screws to replace the Honda factory class 10.9 cap head screws. I'm telling you this because the gentleman at Lowe's tried to stop me from buying these, telling me that they would not work well for my motorcycle, which I was a little bit worried. I was a little bit worried about, to be honest with you. And you know, I had the one bent screw. I'm going to show you those now because I am putting them back on the other side. And 10.9 refers to the class of the screw. It tells you kind of the metallurgy of the screw, what these screws are made out of, and more importantly, it tells you the megapascal strength or tensile strength of the screw. Now, these little guys right here, being class 10.9, they were a little over 1,000 megapascals. These being high carbon steel were about 200 megapascals stronger than the other ones. Also, I had to buy these longer because as I tried to put this together, I want to keep this nitron piece installed and working well with the rest of the bike, and so that is going to necessitate a slightly longer screw. That gets to another theme of this video. I'm now in my 3rd week of making this video, trying to get all these pieces to work together and go together correctly, all the grinding and stuff, and that leads to the inevitable conversation about modifying your bike. The reason I'm having to do this and the reason it's taking so long is because I've modified the crap out of this thing. It's got aftermarket suspension, which I didn't install, but it's a modification. I put a 2.5 gallon spare pillion tank on it. I've done modification after modification. Aftermarket rear rack that I utilized to put a giant suitcase on the back when I took this thing to Tuck to Yuck Tuck. All of these things add up over time, and when the manufacturer sells you something, they're assuming that you have left your bike completely factory. So when you do this, when you do what I'm doing right now, I don't want to discourage you from doing it, but when you do what I'm doing right now, I do want you to have a little bit of patience and try to think through and figure out, do some reading, do some Google searches, and come up with the right pieces so that you can put your bike back together correctly with the new modifications that make it more enjoyable because it's more yours every time you modify it. And also be really careful who you listen to, particularly at Lowe's, because while I enjoyed and questioned the man's unsolicited advice. In the end, the high carbon steel bolts are probably going to be a little bit stronger than the bolts that I took off. All right, so we're going to continue on with our instructional. I'm off my soapbox now. So I've went and gotten these high carbon bolts, and then I'm going to take these washers that I'm going to take off the other side, and I'm going to put them on. No, I'm not, because they don't fit. All right, good thing I bought some more washers. I'll put these washers on it so that these caps don't slip through, and we're going to go ahead and put everything in place. Hand tight, not fully tight, so you can see what that looks like. Okay, here you can see everything put together. All right, and one of the reasons I'm going to do it this way is because I'm going to take each of these off, and I'm going to Loctite all of them just to make sure that they stay where they're supposed to stay as they rattle around and beat down and mosey down the road. I'm gonna put some Loctite on them, and let's tighten them up, and you know, put everything where it's supposed to be and be able to rock and roll. All right, we got our medium strength Loctite all installed here at our bolt. These the conversion, these were H6's 6mm Allen head. The originals are 8. So that the bolts that come with my kit, I don't know about the bolts that come with your kit. Bolts that came with my kit, 10mm. And then this rear bolt back here, 13mm this side, 13mm this side. Next we're going to install this, and I think I'm going to have to make a modification to it, and we'll see about that. But first we're going to install this side. We've got to mock this up. I think I'm going to probably have to remove this piece right here so it doesn't interfere with anything on this side. Also, I think my little bar that goes across here is going to go right in front of my exhaust, which should be interesting to say the least. You can see we've got these buttoned up 10mm screw right here. This is going into an aluminum block. I didn't see any torque specs in the direction, so don't torque that down too much. Reinstalled these. Had two. These were fine on this side. A little bit of a clearance issue right here, but I didn't need to remove this protection piece right here. And then we got this installed. Next step is to install this crossbar right here. It goes like this across the back. And I'm looking at these screws, and these are the only screws left in the kit, and they are clearly too small and not long enough to work for this. And so I'm going to break in to the rest of the kit that I don't need for some screws that will work, and I'm going to install those instead. So wish me luck. Okay, so sometimes laziness doesn't work out. These are 6mm M6 drilled holes that are supposed to take M6 bolts that are somehow or another supposed to be long enough to go all the way through there. These are the bolts I was supplied with. There's 4 of them, and they were too short. I'm 3 weeks in. I am too tired to go to the store. So I opened up the package that is intended for your regular bolts to attach the metal panniers that Tusk sells. They have 8mm bolts. And so I thought I had solved the problem. I just drilled out the holes for the 8mm bolts. Problem is on this side, they don't fit. So now I have to go over here to my grinding wheel, and I got to grind these bolts down to where they fit in the appropriate spot. I've already got 2 of them, so I know it's possible. The thing that I think is kind of interesting about this is that to get it back off, you can see the little spot there. to get this back off, I won't need a wrench, which is kind of nice. These are 5mm Allen wrench bolts. So I'm going to continue on with this little side project that I've made for myself by thinking that I fixed one problem and creating a whole nother one. So yeah, good folks, just to prove it can be done, there it is. Those 4 bolts are finally installed, and that's the end of this, unless you're going to put the racks on this thing, which in that case, good luck. That's actually pretty straightforward, and the same with every rack. You won't be custom installing something that you're going to have to fabricate. So that's it. Next we're going to be fitting our Nelson Rigg plates. Once we get our Nelson Rigg plates fitted, I'm hoping that's going to go smoothly, which I'm going to be honest with you, after everything I've been through with this, I don't think it will. But hey, fingers crossed. And then we're going on a vacation. So we were supposed to go to Costa Rica this Saturday, and we're not going to be able to. My wife did not check her passport, and her passport is expired. So that's a thing. We were going to overland in Costa Rica at the Oso Peninsula, but we're not going to be able to do that. I would like to give a shout out to Nomad America, who was the overlanding company that we booked through. They gave me all my money back. This is high season for them. It didn't cost them anything. They had already booked it out for somebody else, and were kind enough, even though they didn't owe it to me, they were kind enough to waive the 20% rebooking fee, and I will be doing business with them in the future. But anyway, as that said, me and my wife are packing these up. We're going to pack up her Can-Am and my Africa Twin, and we're going to take them to Key West. So that will mean that she has been to both the Arctic Ocean all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. All right, Key West, furthest south you can go in the United States. But until next time, I'm going to go ahead and cut to the outro. And it was nice talking with y'all.
Hey folks, thank you for joining me this week. I know this is an additional video that people weren't expecting. However, I wanted to put it out because I will be doing a new video series of me and my wife going down to Florida. I know I mentioned in the video that we're going to go down to Key West. However, knowing that the footage is in the pipeline to be produced, I know that we did not make it all the way down to Key West. I will leave you in suspense as to what happened when the video comes out. Anyway, moving along, I would like to point out that I do have a growing Facebook page, Lost in the Bush. We're here local in the Asheville area. We've got an upcoming trip on April the 1st for the Smoky Mountain 500 if you'd like to join in on that. Hoping to upload GPX files of little areas that me and my buddy Steven have rode in and around the Asheville area. If you'd like to join in on that, they should be available in the file section. There's also already files in the file section that I reference in my videos about packing lists and self-recovery tools. With that said, I really appreciate you tuning in. I'm still trying to grow this channel. I believe at this point I'm up to 20 subscribers, which I know that's not as fast as I would have hoped that my YouTube channel would grow, but I am still learning my audience, and I am still trying to improve my videos every time I upload one. With that said, please hop over to Facebook, give me join in on our group if you so decide. Also, please do all the YouTube things. Like my video, comment on my video, subscribe to my channel. Okay with negative feedback as long as it's constructive. Let me know. Hey, John, do this, do that. John, I'd like to see you go back and revisit this because I didn't I didn't see it in the video, and I'd like an instruction on it. But I can't know what my audience wants if they're not communicating with me. So reach out. Feel free to comment, subscribe. Please share my videos. I appreciate it. I'm not sponsored. I'm making this content because my hope is at some point in the future that I can get paid money to ride a motorcycle in whatever capacity that is, either running tour groups or doing this YouTube channel. I appreciate your time, and catch you out on the road.